Morning, everyone. We are enjoying this beautiful fall morning here in Albuquerque at Paseo Crossing Shopping Centers, one of our listings here at King Capital. And today we are going to be talking about an acronym that is very common in a commercial lease negotiation, and that is TI, or tenant improvements. So what is TI? TI stands for tenant improvements, and it is exactly what it says it is. It is a function of improving a retail space, industrial space, office space, and tailoring that improvement specifically to that tenant's use. So who typically pays for tenant improvements and how are they paid for? Let's talk about that. So it's always a negotiation, like we talk about, but typically the landlord will be the one that fronts the money up front. So essentially, it is a financing structure in a way for the tenant to improve the space. Now the catch is it's not free money. Again, it's a financing type of structure. So the TI amount to build out the space will typically be amortized over the length and term of that lease. So again, if it costs $500,000 to build out a space, that $500,000 that the landlord contributes and builds out inside the space will be amortized over that 10-year period, and sometimes there will be an interest rate on top of that amount. So when is TI the most useful? Typically it's with smaller businesses that are occupying space in a retail center here like Paseo Crossing when they're younger and they don't necessarily have the capital to improve and fully build out a space. So the landlord, again, will essentially front the money up front and then amortize that amount over the term of the lease, giving the tenant and allowing the tenant to retain capital in order to operate their business. But how are the improvements and the payment of those improvements typically structured? Well, typically, again, every deal is different, right? Every negotiation is different, but typically the tenant will pay for the initial construction, they'll hire the contractor, they'll build out the space, again, because they want the control of how to actually have that space built out. And then once the construction is complete, they will get a lien waiver from that contractor. They will supply that to the landlord, and the landlord will cut them a check and reimburse them for that tenant improvement amount that's been negotiated and agreed to in the lease. So a question we get constantly is, what is a typical TI amount and what should I negotiate? Well, there's a bunch of different factors that go into getting a TI amount agreed to and negotiated in a lease. It comes down to the term of the lease, the tenant strength, the tenant financials, how bad the landlord actually wants that use in the center. But most importantly, TI is really a factor of the actual business, the actual use of the business. If the use is a medical or a dental use, then they require a significant build out inside the space, and that's going to cause a significant TI inside the space. So there's going to be a larger contribution versus a use that maybe is just selling soft goods and has an open floor plan. There's not really a lot of TI that goes into that. So there's not a typical market per se TI amount. It really depends on a lot of different factors, and always get with a broker. If you're negotiating this, they can help guide you and steer you towards a good, fair, equitable TI amount. Thanks again for joining me. TI is just such an important and heavily negotiated item when it comes to a commercial lease transaction, and I hope you guys found this video to be of value and it helps you while you navigate a lease transaction. If you found this video of value, please, by all means, follow us on all our social platforms and feel free to subscribe as well to learn more. We look forward to seeing you then.